Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Tonight, I was going to try this multi camera setup, which I've been working on all day, but suddenly realized it's not going to work right with a guest. So we'll have to try that another night. There's lots of things to talk about as far as UFOs go. Seems to be a real increase in activity lately, both in discussion, reports, news stories, media coverage. So I thought tonight we'd bring in someone that I've talked to on Twitter uh, who follows UFOs, and we're just going to have a real open and honest talk about UFOs. So for tonight, this will be our UFO report. Okay, friends. So without any further ado, let's bring in our guest there. Timothy, good to see you.
Might help if I unmuted the mic.
yeah.
How's it going, man?
Waited for the intro. That's good.
Sorry, my dog's running around, so you'll see that. But yeah, good to talk to you, man.
Yeah. So what do you make of this increase in activity lately, and as far as what's going on in the world of UFOs and people who are following UFOs?
I don't know it. I asked Chris Rotowski about it. He does the Canadian UFO survey. You probably know his name. He wrote an article on it, and a few other people have addressed it, and a few other people have addressed the same issue. So yeah, it seems like the sightings have gone up significantly. At least they did during pandemic, but more recently, I think there's been a drop off from what he said. So kind of a big steep increase, and then down below baseline, maybe even. I don't know. I mean, it's of course attention has shifted to the topic too, so it's hard to figure out which is the chicken and which is the egg, right? Partly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Jonaside here with a generous $2 plywood fund donation. Do you know plywood costs $60 for one sheet?
Yeah, I know you mentioned that. That's why I said, how about corrugated tin? Can you just? My dad built like a barn out of corrugated tin one time.
That's actually what I think I'm going to do for the porch roof, because then I don't need to worry about the wood. Tin will be just fine. I just got to figure out how to join that tin roof with the rest of the roof.
Right.
But thank you, Jonaside, for your kindness, your generosity, and support. And anybody can throw money at me. Just hit the money button in the live chat. Yes. We appreciate all the support. So, back to this. I have not seen this much media coverage about UFOs ever. I don't think.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm too plugged in, right? So I'm noticing it more.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, with social media, everybody can engage in the topic to a lot larger degree. So everybody suddenly wants to talk UFOs, I think. But the sightings are always up and down, but they're always there. There's never been a year without a UFO. So, and then I saw your show where you had Stephen Greer on. Dr. Stephen Greed, I'm sorry. I appreciated that. I thought that was great. So, and David Halpern, who's one of my mentors, so to speak, or aspire at least.
I'm always fascinated. You know what fascinates me about UFOs is that a lot of people think that people that are into UFOs are just straight nutters. But what fascinates me sometimes is the number of truly incredibly well-educated people that are into them. Stan Friedman was a nuclear physicist.
Yeah. And it's not uncommon even for people to in higher levels of academia to be interested. But in terms of actually being interested enough to do the research in the past hasn't really, But yeah, maybe with this new attention there'll be something different that happens. I'm pretty skeptical of all of it. But
it seems like the media coverage has shifted in the last few years from just being like. It used to be they played the X-Files kind of music and they made fun of it. Like, some people saw it might have been aliens, and they made like the stories funny. or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of ridiculous. And now it seems to be, it seems to me at least, that the coverage is shifting to be more serious.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's a good thing. Obviously, what it is, regardless of how it comes out, that what the explanation turns out to be, it's a public safety concern, if nothing else, right? I mean, well, if a pilot thinks he sees something, whether or not he even did, right? Whether he actually thinks, whether he actually hits something or averts a near miss, that's a safety concern. So I I can't see that it shouldn't be addressed, right? And it's also more overarchingly, I guess, an existential kind of question about our place in the universe and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, and
yeah, the
also it
safety
seems like,
issues, right?
yeah, and
Good.
it also seems to be like this is a serious national security concern.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny to me that the U.S. government basically says there's these things. We've filmed some of it. We've got sensor data and radar tapes, and we don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And, flying right over military
Yeah.
assets
Yeah.
like you know, big
And
ships, carriers, and destroyers, and
when they brings in a whole set of issues, right? But the drone stuff seems to be a weird subset. I mean, is that part of the larger UFO issue, or is that a ploy to allow them to talk about it in a way that they can do so without getting a lot of flack? I don't know, but you know, it's hard to, you think about more modern stuff. You've got drone possibilities, and if those are drones, whose are they? Are they Chinese? Are they Russian? Is that separate from, UFOs from the 60s or somehow related? Well, obviously there wasn't that kind of drone technology back then, but it's,
well, it
yeah,
looks
I
like
mean,
actually a lot of people don't know, but there was a special drone that was built in the 60s, late 60s, I guess, that was like launched from the Blackbird. So
right, really, huh,
this
right.
drone technology goes back a lot further. It's just become, it took how many years for it to be like, I can go buy and fly a drone, The
Right, right.
government always has tech before everybody else gets it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's weird with some of the stuff that has been leaked or released or whatever. It's always stuff, of course, it's highly debatable. There's never anything where it's an obvious, nobody can dispute this. And the times that
Sure. Yeah.
the public and public science has gotten getting the data, they've for many times been able to explain stuff it looks like that maybe military intelligence wasn't able to explain, which is kind of troubling. Either they couldn't explain it or they don't want to say that they were able to. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's kind of a weird thing to me. So anyway, it kind of reminds me of the thing with the Roswell slides, right? When guys we can't figure out what the hell it is. It might be an alien, and then they, of course, after they charged the money and released the photograph, the placard literally just needed to be enhanced so that it said this is a corpse of a Native American, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we've covered
So
that
some of these,
at a
yeah,
time.
this stuff
Yeah,
gets
we've covered
solved. It
that
can be
stuff.
solved immediately, if people just don't try to hide the evidence, or I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that, but
Well, it
it's
seems to me that there's been just a tremendous. There's a lot of UFO profiteers out there, and if they find,
sure.
and one of the things that's funny to me is like people still support Jaime Maussan or some of these hoaxers. They used human remains. It's
Yeah,
Stephen Greer too. They
yeah,
used
yeah,
both Stephen Greer and Jaime Maussan and others used human remains to make money off of aliens and people's belief or desire to believe in aliens. And to me, you just used a human body. Like, have some dignity and respect for that poor dead soul, right? No, I'm going to
yeah.
use it to make some money because I can make a boat. Both of them, I'm sure, thought, well, I'm speculating, but they can make a boatload of money before the truth comes out about it. And they don't give the money back once it becomes clear that this was human remains in both of those cases.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe donate a percentage to a Native American charity or something, but that's not going to happen, obviously. But it's and for the most part, people on some of those extreme fringes in ufology, which unfortunately, well, Greer is among now, even though he still got a lot of mainstream attention back in the day. But yeah, it's most serious people, serious UFO people don't really pay much heed to that. Speaking
Yeah,
of
I've
which, I
often
guess
thought
the
there
reveal of
should be two. There should be two separate. There should be like two separate, columns. There should
right,
be
right, right,
UFO
right.
researchers and there should be UFO hucksters.
Right,
These people are just out there selling whatever stories they can, no matter how the witnesses aren't credible, or the witnesses turn out to be like child molesters or convicted felons, or like former burglars, or stuff like that. Like, let's run with the story. He'll say this stuff, and I can hype up this story. And again, it'll take some time before people figure out that witness is a joke.
Yeah, that little window of ambiguity where you can profit, right?
Yeah. What? I think I'm gonna make some money, Timothy, and here's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna drive down to Philadelphia, and I'm gonna load a van up full of homeless guys, and I'm gonna give them lunch and some beer, and I'm gonna feed them, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna give them a script. Like, here, you're a CIA, you're a former CIA person. And this other homeless guy, I'm going to be like, you worked at Area 51. And this other homeless guy, I'm going to be like, you were abducted by aliens. Here's your script. And then, come on, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And we'll see what happens. See if the story of these guys blows up. And then I can come out and tell the truth and say, this is how gullible
you have to along the way say that the information was properly vetted or something too, right?
Yeah.
Properly vetted. Yeah. But it's, I don't know, the extreme fringes of ufology. Right?
But I would be funny as a social experiment to see how many of those stories really took off or got more media coverage. And then we could come out and tell the truth and say, these were homeless people. I gave them a few dollars and a script. And you people believe this,
Right.
Because this desire, this, I called it in another show, the hunger to believe this stuff is so strong in some of these people. And then, they've already made up their mind, and they're just looking for things to confirm their, pre-held hypothesis. These are aliens flying around in our skies. And I think it's a jump. It's definitely a jump, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and now it's a weird difference now as to, I've been, following UFOs for, I want to date myself, for 30 something years, but even with Roswell slides, there wasn't a lot going on back then, so people needed to hype something, right? Part of the problem there, but now there is so much coverage. It's easy to take that and kind of ride on it if you're looking to exploit stuff. But I think it has taken a more serious turn, right?
All around Arbiter with another $5 for the Wood Fund. If this keeps up, Timothy, I might be able to buy half a sheet of plywood by the time this broadcast is concluded. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support all around Arbiter. We do appreciate it. And I don't know. I think I'm going to go with tin, though. I really am. I'm not going to do wood roof. I'm going to just go buy the tin, and it'll come out way cheaper than plywood and roofing materials would.
Yeah, and I would think the tin would stay like cleaner and newer. You could keep that. Plywood's going to turn dingy and shit. I don't know. But I'm not a carpenter, but
I did rolled roofing on the rest of the roof, like tar paper, and then that rolled roofing, and you muck the seams, and that lasts for a good 15 years. So, but the tin lasts much longer. So that was a great suggestion, and I didn't even think of that. So thanks. See, that's why I like posting pictures of my cabin project.
Yeah.
Once in a while, somebody's got a great suggestion, like somebody helped me figure out how to do the drains out the cabin, things like that. So I didn't have to pay a plumber, and somebody else helped me figure out how to wire electrical outlets.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I wish I could. I'm in Arizona. I'd love to be able to like build something out here, or eventually get a camper and be able to, some outdoor stuff out here. But it's great.
Yeah, Arizona's great. You guys, it's warm. I would love it there.
Yeah. It's getting to the hot time of year, of course, now. So
no, this cabin is crazy. It's like 8 months out of the year is winter. I was just there last weekend, and it was 32 at night.
Oh man, wow.
And it's May, bro. It's May. I was
running my AC out. Yeah, I was running my air conditioner.
So we have this UFO report coming up that everybody is talking about, right? And there's so much speculation. Some people are saying they're going to tell us the truth about aliens, Timothy Brigham, and it's going to be a world-changing event. They're going to finally spill the beans and say, we know that there's aliens visiting planet Earth. I am much more skeptical. I think they're going to say, what I think it's going to be either a big nothing burger, totally a big nothing burger, or there'll be a little bit of interesting information in there, but nothing life-changing or earth
Right,
altering,
right,
right? What's your
right.
take on this report, and what you think is going to be in it?
Well, first, I do hope that it's not supposed to be an end product kind of thing. I think people have suggested maybe this should be an ongoing kind of issue where they issue a yearly report or something more comprehensive. I don't know what kind of depth they're planning on going into, with what they're coming out with. Some people have said it's just one guy doing it in his spare time, in his office in the Pentagon. So
There's
first, I'd like
one
to see it not
guy.
be
All
just
these people are waiting on one guy to write this report.
I don't know. I've heard that, in
Kind of
his part
crazy,
time,
right?
that he's so it's obviously not going to be comprehensive. My point, I guess, being I would at least hope that they just say that we don't know what the hell it is, right? And then therefore further research is needed. That would be, I think, probably the most honest and best case scenario. I don't believe that they're going to come out with any kind of definitive evidence of any alien technology or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I'd say I'm pretty hardcore skeptical. I like I say, I still am interested in the topic after 30 years of watching it, but I keep a window open of hoping that there's something, beyond human intelligence there worth chasing. But I'm pretty skeptical of it.
It's with me, I saw something when I was like a kid, and it was their typical, flying saucer, big, and I saw it as close as the treetops. It was hovering just above the treetops in this wooded area that I was in. And so my whole life, I wanted to know what I saw. And
right.
yeah, I don't know that it could be, I don't know that it even could be something terrestrial, what it is that I saw, based on the sound of it, no sound,
No sound. Okay.
all these
Let me
other.
ask you: did you notice any other sounds, like any other ambient weirdness, or was
It
the Oz
sounded
factor kind
like
of stuff?
static a little bit,
Okay.
but like low and off in the background.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
And I felt an electric charge in the air, like my hair stood up on my arms and my back. Well, I don't have hair on my back, but back of my neck.
Yeah.
And I felt like static, like when you rub your hair with a balloon or something. Like that's why I thought whatever the craft was, it had some electric form of propulsion, or electromagnetic. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty skeptical of the claims of like material debris and things like that, but I think people that report and have close encounters are probably a better source of, at least with witnesses, we have the report, we know that there's a witness, there's something there we can take a look at and study. I mean, did you have any long-term effects from, beyond the obvious psychological ones? Did you have any physical
just
effects
really
from it?
psychological. I dreamt about it for a while, but I don't think that was like aliens trying to make me relive it or make me dream it on purpose. I just think that was like I saw something so crazy that it was right in the forefront of my mind, and I couldn't. When I went to sleep, it was still there, and I like experienced what I experienced again and again. But after a while, that faded out, and I was just left going, I got to know what this thing was. And it started me down this rabbit hole of crazy. And I almost wish it never happened, because I don't know about you, but like a lot of us, we spend a tremendous portion of our lives like reading books about it and watching videos and, podcasts.
It's a passion, right? It's a passion, but yeah, I hope that when they have the report that, like I say, that they will just straight up admit they don't know what it is. I think that's probably the answer to what they know, honestly, is they may have a little more data, but I don't think they really know what's going on. I think if they started to reveal more stuff to open science or public science, you'd get a lot more answers by doing it that way than, trying to have one guy write a report or whatever, limits resources behind closed doors. So,
yeah. One of the other things I wanted to ask you your opinion about, and remember, we're just friends that have a similar interest. So I have this problem lately with this whole narrative for 70 years has been that the government knows about aliens and they're covering it up, and the men in black and all of this stuff. And now lately, there's all these former government workers, and we're supposed to trust that what they're telling us is true and accurate. And they're some of them are dancing around their NDAs and things. It just
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me that for 70 years we were supposed to believe the government was covering this all up, but now we're supposed to believe former government agents when they're telling us stuff.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
seems like
got
a
you.
psyop to me. That's what it seems like. It seems like the government put them on out there to say these things, and I don't trust any of them. I don't trust anybody that used to work for a former any of those letter of the alphabet agencies, the DIA,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
NSA, the CIA,
fair,
the
yeah.
FBI. I don't trust
But
any of them. I just don't
but
trust
there's been
the
a
government.
long history of people, jumping into UFOs as a retirement career or whatever you want to call it after
Mhm.
intelligence or so.
Yeah, maybe they
Yeah, but I
do.
mean, for
Maybe
obvious
I'm
good
wrong, and
reason.
they
What?
did have a
Yeah,
good interest. They had a really big interest in it, but they didn't
right.
want to, you know, be considered a nutter while they were still working. So they wait till they're retired to do this. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I think a lot of it is personal passion. At least that is the what I would hope is the positive reason behind a lot of these guys coming out and doing it. But um,
Yeah, we have some great comments.
it is difficult though when people. I'm trying to choose my words carefully, right? When people have worked in intelligence circles, and especially they've worked in UFOs and intelligence circles. So obviously it's,
Mhm.
but keep your expectations low, and then you'll probably be pleasantly surprised, I guess. Don't.
You know what?
Greg
I
Bishop has
also.
a saying, Greg Bishop, right?
Mhm.
He has a saying, listen to all of it and don't necessarily believe all of it, but take all the information in. But yeah, it is a different narrative, right? That you're saying they're spinning that now suddenly, oh well, we may or may not know certain things, whereas the old version was the what was it, the blue room where all the aliens were kept and all that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
and I wanted to ask you. You said you want to be careful with your words, but sometimes we need to name names for
Sure,
clarity's sake.
sure.
So I wanted to ask you about Christopher Mellon and what your thoughts on him were, because
Yeah.
I just saw that Grant Cameron is adamantly saying that in 2014 he was on a panel with Christopher Mellon at Contact in the Desert, and Christopher Mellon said, "There's no aliens. If there were, I would know about it." And now he seems to be Mr. Believer. And it doesn't make sense. Like, what happened in this 5 year span to change his mind and make him do
Well,
such an
wait. First of all, let me
outrageous?
make sure I understand that right. Why would he be in contact at the desert to say that he didn't believe in aliens? I don't
I don't
really.
know. I'm sure that I heard Grant Cameron say that
Right.
he
I
did a
don't know. I
conference
just
with Christopher
in
Mellon, and Christopher Mellon said, or maybe he just talked to him, but apparently, according to
yeah.
Grant
Well,
Cameron,
what
this is according to Grant Cameron, Christopher Mellon said, "There's nothing to this. If there was, I would know about it." And now he's doing Joe Rogan and TTSA and all this other stuff.
right?
So that doesn't make
I
any
don't
sense.
know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can tell you just from what little bit I know, having dealt with Chris, seems like he's legitimately trying to get good answers about things. What's his motivation? I think it's a good motive. Now, having a good motivation, let's say, does not always make you a good guy or whatever, right? But I'm just saying, I think his motivation there. Chris Mellon does not need the money, right? He's uh, to be involved in this. I think he does have an interest in trying to get some of this information out there. Maybe I'm being naive in that,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
Yeah. And listen, I'm
I'll
not casting aspersions at the guy.
yeah,
I don't understand.
right,
And
right,
there's very few people that I can't get to get an interview with or talk to. It seems to be those high rung UFO celebrity types. They don't want to do my show and answer my questions. So,
right,
you
right.
know, I kind of, I'm at an impasse with many people like Lou Elizondo. I've asked him, not that I'm bitter, but he did do like, he's done podcasts with people that have way less numbers than me.
Right. That's what I was going to say. That yeah,
But they
yeah,
softballed him. Every one of those people softballed him, didn't ask him any hard questions, didn't press him on anything. And there's so many questions that need to be asked to that gentleman, but it seems like he's bobbing and weaving and only taking the interviews where this is, again, it's speculation. I could be wrong, but I just think like every interview that I heard was sort of softballed. And I
yeah,
can't get
yeah.
him, and I can't get Chris Mellon and a few other people.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
offer
Sorry,
open,
my
gentlemen.
dog's going. For some reason, my dog goes crazy when I smoke. I don't know. She is a German Shepherd, but she's not like
But
a
the
trained,
smell, it's the
yeah.
smell. It's the smell.
But Yeah, I mean, and I don't know Lou Elizondo at all. I know Chris just from working with him a little bit on stuff with SCU, but um, I have of course concerns just like you. I've read stuff about what happened to Paul Benowitz and all that kind of crap. So it's always concerning, but without something happening, it would just be typical flying saucers like it was, forever. I would like it to see it, actually answer the question definitively once and for all, to at least as much as could be. Right? Is there something going on or not? I don't expect them to do that in June, but if we put concerted effort at it as a human species, we could probably figure out a lot more what the hell's going on than we have.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
I'm just kind of rambling on.
I guess the other questions that I have, especially for Lou Elizondo, is that he's kind of going after UFO profiteers, and then I come to find out that, like, I don't think that he's had a real job in 5 years. You know?
Funny enough, you say that. I just saw him on Twitter today say, I have not made a dime from any of my UFO appearances. I have a day job. Whatever that means, I don't know, but that
Good,
was,
good. And see, we're
yeah,
getting to some part of the truth. But
right,
he
right,
was being paid by ATIP, and I've
right,
got to imagine he was being paid by TTSA, and he was paid by the History Channel to be on that television show. I would imagine. See, this is where we get.
yeah,
I think that it's still murky there. Like, is he really saying he doesn't make any money at all?
yeah,
Hasn't made any
yeah.
money at all from UFOs? He's had to, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I'm asking. Come on. I know,
But it's no,
you.
but it's good if he
Yeah,
has a day
right.
job, because the guys that have a
Yeah,
day job, they don't need to
right,
make up
right.
stuff to keep
Yeah,
the
exactly.
UFO
Yeah,
ball rolling. And those guys that
exactly. If
don't
you
have
don't
day
have to,
jobs, yeah,
right.
there should be like when somebody does any podcast or appearance or talks at a conference, they should have to answer if they have a day job or not. Because
Right,
I
right.
kind of
Yeah,
trust the
yeah,
day job guys more, like,
yeah.
well,
No, legitimately, man. I mean, the people that I know that are serious are mostly people that aren't doing, conferences and stuff like that on the regular, at least, right? I mean,
yeah, you might
Robert
do a
Powell
one-off
and
talk or
people from
whatever. Yeah.
SCU, yeah, right.
Yeah, I've only been
But
asked to talk at one conference, and it was kind of before I got as skeptical as I am, you know?
mm,
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
was a
I
local
understand. Yeah.
thing. It was a local thing. I think it was John Ventry before he had his racist meltdown.
Mm,
He ran a conference in Philadelphia and asked me to
mm,
talk, but I didn't make it.
mm,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I definitely think that money tends to cloud people's judgment, and it seems to me that there's way too many people make like how like this is a serious question. What do you think? How many people on planet Earth should be making a full-time living from UFOs?
Oh man. Well, I mean, as it stands, right? And this is one of the reasons that after doing this, probably I don't want to become like a talking UFO head, on the regular or anything. But shit, I got high and
You're
forgot what
going
I
to
was
be
gonna
my
say.
talking
Oh,
UFO head, though. So,
yeah, okay,
no.
fair enough, fair enough. Right. I mean, if you're gonna be in UFOs, before I lose what I was gonna say, right? You're gonna be immediately, or at some point, you're gonna have to go more extreme, right? I mean, you can't just ride for 20 years and talk sense, right? Nobody wants to fucking hear that, right? I mean, seriously, if you're doing it because you need a gig or money or whatever, then and be honest about that. There's nothing wrong if that's your thing, man. Stanton Friedman, would remember him, and he told Jim, hey, nuclear physics jobs are down, UFO jobs are up. I'm taking it. Okay, God bless you. At least
Mhm.
admit that that's your interest.
Yeah, I
Now, of
talked to
course,
him.
when you
I
yeah,
talked
go
to him a
ahead.
lot before he died. I used to call him once in a while and
I
just
don't
talk
know.
to him. And he was very honest with me. He said, all of the physics jobs and the research that is all dried up, and I knew that I
Yeah,
could make a good living giving lectures, which is something that he enjoyed because he loved talking about UFOs,
yeah,
and selling books about UFOs. And he said, I love lecturing about UFOs, I love researching UFOs, and I love talking
yeah,
about UFOs. So
yeah,
I made it my career. So I guess there's
yeah.
nothing wrong with it. I just think there's way too many people trying to do it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, and when it gets it's gotten so extreme too. Again, with the thing where you're using human fucking remains, to get $30 for a pay-per-view ticket or something. It's
Yeah,
beyond,
that to me, that is like,
believable.
yeah, you would think that they too, like, I did. Oh, speaking about people using human remains, I followed up on the Roswell slides, and I found out that that statue um, was actually interred. They buried it because
Okay, okay.
there was a change. At some point, I think it was like the 70s or the early 80s, where people said, it's really disrespectful to leave this thing in a glass case. Let it be buried. I think some
Right.
of the natives went to the
Okay.
museum and said, like, this is sacrilegious to us that you're just putting this thing on display. You got to bury it, and they did,
Yeah.
to their credit. However, I believe that Stephen Greer's Atacama humanoid is not buried, and I would think, come on, bro, it's just a human now. Let it rest in peace. Don't take it around.
Is that the tiny one? Is that the little tiny one
Yeah,
he's
the little
got?
6-inch one. Yeah.
Get him a shoebox, man. No, that's disrespectful. But I didn't even know that it had been proven to be what is it, like a fetus, or is it an actual or do you,
Yeah,
I
that
haven't.
depends on who you ask. Some people say
All right, yeah,
the bone density was too high. It couldn't have been a fetus. It had to be born and it lived for this long. And other people say no, it was a human
yeah,
fetus. It wasn't even born. But still,
yeah,
that's still a human being and the
yeah,
remains of a human being.
sure,
So to
yeah,
me, Stephen Greer, I'm kind of like, come on, bro, you made your money off of it. Now let it rest in peace. Bury the thing. Maybe I should start a
yeah. And
signature
even if you were
campaign.
going to pitch the angle that it was an extraterrestrial, wouldn't you want to still do something respectful? I have no idea what mindset you'd be in if you really believed
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
anyway,
I
But
would think you'd still want to be respectful, especially if it was a sentient, conscious being. If it was an
right,
alien, you would
right,
still want to bury it. It creeps me out to know that Stephen Greer, and I don't even think he's the owner of it. I think he, rented it or something off the actual owner. But it just
right,
creeps
right.
me out to think that there's people running around, just leaving this thing sit in their house or whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
bury it,
No, yeah. I
try to have
mean,
some dignity and respect for the dead.
yeah, yeah. It'd be surprised. I think Jim Mosley used to tell me stories about back his their grave robbing days in Peru. And you'd be surprised the amount of stuff that was black market still. I don't know where you'd sell it and sell a small alien, but
Yeah.
where'd you sell a 6-inch alien corpse?
Or
For
where do you buy one of those Paracas skulls? Those elongated skulls, because people do buy them.
Yeah,
People
I was
buy
thinking
those
about like the
elongated
crystal skulls
skulls.
used to be the crystal skulls were not as easily now they're machined and stuff, but it used to be they'd sell those as collectibles and shit handmade,
Yeah.
but
Well, that kind of
uh,
makes sense to me. And I can understand, I guess, why somebody would want one of those elongated skulls if you're into
mm,
aliens or something. But
yeah,
buy a reproduction, Don't buy a real
right,
one
right,
and just have some dude's
right,
head sitting in your house. It seems
yeah,
disrespectful to me.
yeah, yeah,
I'd
agreed,
like a recreation. I can't lie. I would put that on a shelf,
yeah, yeah.
curiosity piece in here, like possible alien skull. I think that some of the prop ones are really bad, though. They don't look good. They don't look well.
I had one from Spencer's like in the
Mhm.
'90s. I took to a UFO conference, and me and Jim went out there, took it out to the beach, and carries this fake. And the guy that had the Star Child, what's his name?
Lloyd
Lloyd.
Pye. Yeah, that's another one. There's
He
another
was
one.
there. He was there. So I told Jim I'm gonna take it down to the beach and throw it the fuck out there and wait for him to walk by and find it. Right.
Yeah, so actually, I know there was other people. That's at least 3
Yeah.
people now in UFOs,
Yeah.
in UFO circles, who have done lectures, made DVDs, sold
Yeah. What
books,
about Thomas
all based
Reed?
on
This
human
guy,
remains that they
Thomas
claim are
Reed. Well, he's got a
aliens.
fake. Remember the guy that beat the alien with the death with a stick?
He's got a fake
He's
alien
got it in the
body. Yeah,
freezer. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course,
That guy
that's
was
probably just.
ridiculous.
He was on. I saw him on Facebook as recently as like I want to say 2 years ago. Claims he's a child psychologist. By the way, first of all, there's a lot of disturbing possibilities there, but which I don't believe him at all.
No, I believe
But
that
he's
his
still selling it.
education was.
He's got a second story he's going to follow up with
That's
now.
Dr.
Apparently,
Reed, and I
there
believe
you
that
go.
I checked, and his doctorate is like one of those ones that you buy from someplace. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, he's not a
yeah,
doctor. It's a joke.
yeah. And then, but to some degree, it's like, do you want to even bother to go after the low hanging fruit of of shitty
Yeah, you can look at
Uh,
his videos and go, this is fake as hell. But I'll give him
right.
credit because I did magic shows for a time.
Hmm.
He did a video of this supposed craft off in the woods. and he used a magician's trick to make it appear to be floating. And I recognized it as soon as I saw that he had done that. So I'll give him at least some credit. He's using magic tricks to sell his fake plywood spaceship in the woods, right? And then they had a fake body, and that case has been ripped completely apart. But he went down to Mexico, and they still believe him. They're like slow to catch on to the grips and the con artists.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Well, obviously, it's got. I mean, right? But
they're definitely a little more superstitious than and willing to believe in things like aliens, demons, angels. I think so, in my opinion, than Americans are. Americans are a little more skeptical, or like, is this thing for real? They're like, ooh, it's alien. Yeah.
I love how they always in the in the 60s and 70s they had contact cases with little hairy humanoids that would attack people. That was kind of their version of the Gray. These little hairy midgets that would attack you. That's somehow mythologically cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
But but do I believe it? Of course, not particularly. Right? But
I'll listen to the people. I'll listen to anybody tell their story about encounters with aliens, though, because you never know. Yeah. Some of them maybe have some kind of insight or some truth to what they're saying. So I used to not care about experiencers. I didn't want to talk to any of them. Alien abduction people, because all they have is their story. But some of them are pretty good stories, and I at least listen.
And going back to like what Hynek said, the UFO reports are real. The reports are real, and the UFOs may or may not be real, but the reports of the that people make are real, right? So focus the efforts on, instead of worrying about, to me, trying to capture a piece of something that crashed. I don't really see that reason. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really believe it.
What do you think of that stuff? Because there's a lot of people running around claiming that they got UFO material. But I think a lot of people seem to imply that what they have is alien spacecraft material, when it could have came off a Russian satellite. It could have come off of a missile that test. Or, UFO could mean a lot of things. So I think there's a jump to it's got to be alien material.
Yeah, I mean, there's UFO debris has been a thing for decades. And I think some of the same materials over and over again, so they're retesting some of these materials, time and time again. But maybe there's I don't hold out a lot of hope that we're going to find a physical, tangible piece of. I'll go on the record, and I'd love to be wrong, but I'll say that in our lifetimes we're never going to hold alien technology. I don't think it's, if there is a real UFO phenomenon, I think maybe it's more some kind of weird, I don't know, consciousness related thing. I don't know what that would be, by the way, but I don't think that, still no incontrovertible evidence, no evidence of physical evidence of abductions and stuff like that. We're still in the same place after. But going back to the debris, right? I mean, that's kind of always been an end game for UFOs, right? At some point, we've got to have fucking something we can show people. Right? I mean, especially, and I don't want to say, I respect Jacques Vallée a lot and the work that he did with like Magonia, and totally one of the people I aspired to be as a kid. But I don't know what part of his end, how do you say this, his end journey must require some sort of tangible proof, maybe for his own story. I don't know. I don't want to psychoanalyze somebody else, but I don't have a lot of hope that we're going to find a piece of something from another planet or another star system. If we do, great. I've heard the claim many times before. I don't really see any reason to think it'll.
I remember many times where people were hyping up things that they claimed came off of the UFO, and by UFO they really meant alien spacecraft. We had that smelting thing. It really was just this weird piece of metal that comes from the smelting process. We had arts, and we've got Jacques Vallée. And we've got TTSA claiming that they have some sort of UFO materials.
And again, somebody commented to me, I guess more people read Twitter than I would think, that I said something derogatory about Jacques, and I do not want to be dismissive of him in any way, and say that I don't have a huge amount of respect for him, by the way.
I want to see the data. I want to see the tests. I want to see the data. I want them to be I want him to open those materials up to other researchers so that whatever his findings are can be either confirmed or denied by, a second person looking at them, or third person, or get a
I'll
metallurgist or
mention one other
experts.
issue we saw that I think Gary Nolan was discussing some of that, but he's not a metallurgist, so I don't know why my understanding he's like a neurobiochemist or something. So again, I guess I'm being too
Yeah,
skeptical, but
but then again, it's
why are
like,
you not having,
who's qualified to look at a
okay,
material
fair.
and decide if it's
Right,
aliens or not, right? I don't
right, right,
know.
right.
I don't know.
And
Is it a
and here's my
metallurgist or?
question: why does it take so much effort to figure that out? I mean, wouldn't it be more obvious? Am I missing something? I guess maybe, but why shouldn't alien debris or
Yeah, they should
be
be able to look at it under a microscope and find out if it was manufactured or naturally occurring, and then they should be able to put it in a mass spectrometer and find out what the isotope count is, and if it's truly from another star system, they'd be able to easily determine that. And I don't think we ever get to it. We never get the
in
data.
ufology? There's a lot of things that start out big and then they just kind of go away slowly and taper away, without much coming out of them in the end. I hope, hopefully this won't be one of those, but
Yeah.
there's always some big story that turns out to be whatever.
Oh, look,
But you
too.
were asking about Chris. I'll tell
Corey
you that
No Good.
in this,
Corey No Good let me his NASA
you were
shoot.
asking about Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo. Chris helped us write the letter that we sent to Congress, and then people were
Yeah, I was
actually,
going to ask you about that. Can you
yeah.
explain exactly what SCU is and this letter that you guys sent? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'll do it from the quick version from the start. So SCU is just the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. It's just a group, mostly scientists, degreed people, reasonable people, about 100 members. Some of the member Robert Powell and Kevin Newth did a lot of work on the Nimitz case, stuff like that, right? But a group of us, and I'll say Robert and I got together. The idea initially was to try to give some feedback from one of the only kind of major UFO organizations remaining that had any sort of scientific credibility to lend some kind of feedback to whoever was creating this paper, or this what's going on in June, right? That turned into, and actually, now it's okay to say this because a couple of things, right? If you read the letter that we sent to Congress, it does say respectfully to Senators Rubio and Warner, right? We're requesting you release the remaining footage from the gimbal video. Right, Chris, I think, has come out on Joe Rogan and said there's a longer video. Right, and I think Lou Elizondo implied there was a longer video, of which that gimbal video is just a segment. Right, so if so, right, the assumption I would have would be that it would be a section of a longer video, and there's more data there. Right, I was seeing Mick West argue with
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold
SCU,
on.
and go ahead.
1 second. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We had a hiccup there or something for a second there, so I missed
Somebody jumped in.
What you just said.
No worries. No. I got tired of seeing everybody debate this one segment of video, this gimbal video, right? Because it's like however long, and then the thing may or may not go to the side. Where's the rest of the video? People are burning up all this time looking at this possible jet or possible flying saucer. Or anyway, long story short, we turned our attention with Chris's guidance and help at requesting that they release the rest of that video along with the other videos that they recently, right, talked about or acknowledged or whatever, leaked or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, why can't we get the full video? Why can't we get the 25-minute version or whatever they have?
And especially if you read, their own verbiage says these videos do not release any classifiable information about methods or anything, right? So when they acknowledged it, they specifically said that. So therefore, the rest of the video can't really show anything different, right? I mean, there's nothing you could.
I wonder about this. It frustrates me. We're supposed to have Freedom of Information Act, but it's really the Freedom of Whether They Want Us to Know Act.
Yeah,
because you can file it for you. It should be. Yeah. They should have to release it. They should have to. They should be forced to release it.
So Robert Powell filed the FOIA request requesting that they release the video and any radar data, anything, right? The official, usual way you would do that, request it be released, right? No luck. right? So the
Did he
idea,
get a
and
reply? Did he get a reply though?
he got the usual. What did he say? No records, I think was the reply. I think it was just a no records reply.
Yeah, how could they not
I'd
have
have
a
to check
copy
to
of
see
it?
what it was, what the exact verbiage was, but he didn't get much, right?
Like I said, the Freedom of Whether We Want You to Know Act or not,
Right, right,
whether we want you to know or not act. It's not the freedom.
yeah.
There's no freedom of
So
information. They do what they want.
yeah, well, and this is where I'll give Chris credit. He said we should be specific in our requests if we're going to send something to Congress. So mentioning that FOIA is kind of, if this is what we're actually asking, just honor this FOIA request, right? People say there's a longer video. It makes sense there's a longer video. You've said that there's no problem with the video that's out there. I'm tired of hearing Mick West say that it's a jet 20 miles away. If there's another video, show me the damn video, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to. There was a lot of people arguing about why were the names censored on the letter when it was released. Well, I got with Robert and Chris, and we composed the letter, and Chris wrote a draft. And anyway, long story short, everybody that signed it, you can see it says we can release this publicly, after this date if we don't get a reply. And we got no reply, by the way. We sent faxes, we sent emails, we sent voicemails, we sent certified hard copies. No response, not even a thank you, fuck you, goodbye. All right, thank you, Senator Warner's Rubio. Michael Fevzner of the Senate Subcommittee on Intelligence, I think is the title. Nothing, right?
They should
And
be
this is
required by law to
what
at
I
least
want to
acknowledge
emphasize is it's not just me, right? The goal here was to get something we could all agree upon as scientists or rational people and request it. And you've got, serious people there that some of them have active security clearances. First of all, why aren't they allowed to access the information anyway? Because there are laws that say you can't overclassify something. On a whole nother thing, right? But this was the kind of stuff that Chris helped guide us with. So I want to give him due credit on that, right? If you read the actual letter, and it does say, here's a law saying that you can't hold it, right? Yeah.
He works within the system, so certainly he knows how to navigate it better than some people would, being an outsider, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the request there is just we can open source figure this shit out if you release the data, right? I mean, if you put the video out there, we can figure it out just like people have figured out the Roswell slides or whatever else, right? But
yeah, and you know what?
Restrict it. Yeah.
The reason that I want to see the data is because I'm tired of relying on witnesses who say things like this craft had no visible means of propulsion, or this craft defied the laws of physics. I want to see the data that proves these statements, and the radar tapes would prove or disprove those statements, I would think.
Yeah, and you'd have to check. I would have to double check. I think Robert said that they pretty quickly said no data, nothing of it, from what I recall. I don't know if that's right, but he didn't get much. I'll put it that way. So,
well, and then it also begs the question, like, okay, so there's two possibilities. Either they're
I think you froze up. You're frozen. You can see me. Can't see you. I see you frozen. Should I jump back in? Wait. I'm going to leave and come back if you can see me. Hang on.
wow, sorry, friends. I don't know. We have some kind of hiccup, and that may be because my children are still awake and probably have 17 internet devices going at once. So, yeah, where were we at? Yeah, so Tim's muted himself. I guess he noticed the hiccup. So, I was saying that this doesn't make sense that there's no data. It makes absolutely no sense that there's no data, because if they've got unknown craft flying near aircraft carriers, they should have and have kept the data. And it doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense to me that there's no data. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was
No
just,
worries. Yeah.
I don't know what this hiccuping is going on, but I try to, kill other stuff that may be causing bandwidth issues. So, what I was saying is there's two possibilities. Either they're telling the truth and they really didn't keep the data, or they're incompetent because it's okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So
If there's unknown craft flying near aircraft carriers,
right.
They should have the radar data. They should have kept
a couple of things. Yeah. A couple of things. Somebody said the data was taken by the Air Force, right? Somebody claims that. It is weird because it's almost on a surface level or a secondary level. They don't know what's going on, but there's a suggestion there's a deeper level at which someone might, because that data was taken by somebody, right?
Sure.
And again, the claim I think was made that the Air Force landed and came and Men in Black came and took it, basically, right?
Yeah. When in doubt, you got to blame the Men in Black.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it boils down to. I've seen it happen time and time again with some of these stories. It's like
it's saying something though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we had the proof, but the Men in Black landed.
They're not going to come in wearing fucking pink jumpsuits. They're going to be wearing black. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Were there three of them?
Convenient excuse, though. That always pops up.
It certainly does, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, so even as a pretty affirmed skeptic, still. Although people will sometimes say it's weird that you're a member of an SCU UFO group if you're a skeptic, but I'm an open skeptic. I want to see more data, right? So
people are pointing out in the live chat that there's more than two possibilities. Yeah, there's infinite possibilities, because one of the other possibilities is that they claim the data is classified, so they can't let it out. But they don't say that. They say we don't have it. We don't have any data. They should say, this is a national security. This is exempted from FOIA based on national security concerns. We can't give you data,
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. But and I'm not even necessarily of the mind that it's just going to show anything dramatic or, I don't. We still, after all this time, don't have a good, reliable, non-disputable, even really close-up photo of something that we can all point at and say, hey, that's what it is. But
Yeah. I don't
know, man. And with the motivation, I heard, maybe I'm a sucker. I try to give these guys credit, like when we heard, or if you listen to Chris Mellon on Joe Rogan, it sounds like he's, hey, he's interested because he had a sighting of his own, I think, as a kid or something, right? Mm-hmm. If I remember the story. So, seems like a fair enough story, right? But the more interesting thing to me is that he could be at the level he had gotten to and not really have seen whatever, unless he's seen something he's not, given any clues about. It sounds to me like, I don't know. I don't think that we're going to see anybody wheel out a dead alien or even a great photo showing something indisputable. I think it's a mystery. But, and again, somebody took the data, like you say, maybe, right?
Yeah. And, some of the things that he said, though, like, didn't he say that, like, it's probably not drones because drones have a short flight time?
Yeah.
He's got to know, with his background, that there are drones that can stay in the air for like weeks at a time with these very advanced power systems that they have. I mean, there's nuclear batteries. That's what runs satellites, It's
weird because, who knows what somebody else knows, right? Especially in a certain position, we want to assume
I guess I should assume, though, that he knows about some of these long flight drone projects that they have that, they've got drones that can stay at least for a day, a full on day, can stay in the air. So
sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just mean that his explanation of like, well, it can't be drones because they have such a short flight time.
Yeah,
like if I went to Walmart and bought one off the shelf, it would have a 25-minute flight time if I'm lucky. But the military has the good ones that can stay that could stay in the air for days, I think, from the
and I
research.
don't know specifically what events he was talking about either, because I've heard like Lou try to tie, I've heard people try to tie in the Lonnie Zamora thing to the Tic Tac, and they kind of make that narrative. So maybe more generally, I don't know, man. I don't, but yeah, it would be surprising, and maybe I wanted to this. I've said this before to somebody else, but I found it interesting that in one of, I think, was it one of Jacques Vallée's Forbidden Science journal, we had the 3 journal volumes or whatever. He mentioned when he was working with Hynek and dealing with people at the Pentagon, he was surprised that the people that were actually doing this shit with him and Hynek, they opened their briefcases and like the sources that they were getting their info from was like, Brad Steiger's Star Children or Vallée's Anatomy of Fun. These were the books that they were using to figure out what the hell was going on as their resources, instead of, we'd like to think that they had a lab with a crashed alien and all kinds of data and all kinds of,
didn't Jacques Vallée, like recently, somebody mentioned in the live chat, he went a little too far because he was involved with Paula Harris, who is one of those people that believes every single alien story she hears.
I can't argue with you. Yeah.
And somebody, Melissa mentions in the live chat that military drones can flight for like 60 hours in a row. Yeah, so the statement that the flight time, it can't be a drone because their flight time is too short is confusing to me. Again, there's so many.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know specifically what event though there he was, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I'll be surprised if it turns out that there's a whole lot more information released. It'd be nice if they honored the request that we sent them. We had 52 people, half of them were PhDs, and Chris Mellon signed it. Plenty of other people, I won't just drop names, but legitimate people that would like to see the rest of the video if it's available. Then we sent the request via the mechanism in which this this government were supposed to request it, and now what, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just, what, it's frustrating to me because there's information out there, but so much of it needs like a second like run of clarification so that
that was what I was gonna, we do have a lot of data already that we need to figure out a way to deal with. I'm thinking of like databases and stuff that could eventually be lost if we don't preserve them. Like Vallée's got all these large databases of sightings that he's collected over the years, but I don't think most of those old school UFO databases have been preserved by anybody other than randomly. But like the Larry Hatch database had these hundreds or thousands of sightings, when he went to the trouble of putting them all in an organized way. And so all that information is around somewhere, but there's no centralized mechanism or people that, kind of act as a repository. I know Jacques, didn't he get with, was it Stanley Krippner at University of New Mexico to start storing certain stuff?
Yeah, I think I had heard something that he was going to start archiving all his old stuff and making it available online for other researchers, but then I didn't follow up or hear if they actually did that. A lot of these people have got all these paper files. It's only about an hour from me, the Stanton Friedman archive that they're putting in that college. The name escapes me of the actual college, but there's like 85 boxes of his papers that are in. You could go there and go through that all. And I believe Grant Cameron has so far been the only person in there. And he just, has been dripping stuff out.
Well, it's long been the thing in UFOs to want to harass the government I shouldn't say that, to want the government to come up with the answers. And that's always been like a top part of the, UFO attention always goes to, they've got to tell us what they know about UFOs. It's always a big,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of stuff there that people could focus on, data that's available already, it's not as glamorous, of course. So
can you tell me about your educational background? What is your PhD in, and what are your degrees in? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no worries. I went my 4-year degree. I went in Pensacola, Florida, but my hometown, Gulf Breeze. Basically, that's how I got interested in UFOs. By the way, I grew up in Gulf Breeze when Ed Walters in the '90s was photographing all his nonsense, right? So anyway, I went to high school, college in Pensacola there at the West Florida University, and then got my master's degree and my PhD at University of Georgia in Athens in cognitive experimental psychology generally. So a little bit of neuroscience, a little bit of judgment and decision making, a little bit of threat assessment. I worked in a flight sim lab for a while, and but from there directly, mostly teaching, right? So, what they say, those who can't do, teach, right? So I've been a professor. I've worked a little bit for biomed, trying to make some money, private industry, and trying to go back into teaching. But yeah, so University of Georgia. One of my mentors had a flight simulation lab there that I, like I said, I worked in for very briefly, but that would have been the perfect kind of thing you could apply, to UFOs, right? And if there was some interest or some funding, this was something I'd, send it up the chain to somebody, right? If we could do some like 3D modeling or have some simulations done and have these guys that witness this, Fravor or whoever wants to volunteer, right, come in and do some perceptual testing, stuff like that, that'd be a route to go. Whether any that'll happen or not, I don't know, but be interesting.
I would like to. I would like to see more research into this field from, more credible scientific sources, and not so many crackpots running around accepting whatever.
Yeah. And I'll give Lou Elizondo credit. I saw him calling out the thing about Greer with the flares and all that nonsense, And
yeah, but don't you think that there seems to be this competitive backbiting between the top tier? Like the UFO celebrities are always like, that guy's full of crap, but I have the truth.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's always some. I'm gonna kiss you in the face and punch you in the balls at the same time kind of thing going on.
That's a good way to put it. That's a perfect analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they always do. Yeah. Some of them do it like with
you got to feed somebody. You got to feed somebody to the wolves, right? And I guess really, if you do, the people that we're going to agree upon are going to be, some of it's so obvious, but it's like any kind of what you might want to, I hate to use the term fake news, but misinformation or just displaying one side of any kind of, it can have obvious negative results, but I don't know. Again, the request that we sent it's a FOIA request. Just please, people are arguing about what the hell this thing is, and you've said you don't know, so let people try to figure it out in the public realm. And again, when there's specific, you read I think on the SCU website, there's actual specifics about, there is this law against overclassifying something. So if it's pertinent to that, you can't argue that, right? If it's because it reveals methods, well, you've already stated that it doesn't reveal blah, blah, blah. So again, Chris was helpful in putting some of that language together. So there's no good argument for them not doing it. They probably won't. Having said that, but the only thing that I do again find it interesting that we didn't even get a form letter, right? I would think, because I know people that have sent letters to their representatives and they get a thank you letter or whatever, and I've gotten them myself, but not even nothing. So it made me think maybe they were actually considering it, but I don't know,
Yeah. I'd be interested to see, though. I would think that by law they should have to respond. This whole system is a joke.
Oh yeah. Of course, that's the thing. If they say no records, there's no mechanism really by which, and this is where like John Greenwald and Robert, again, they know this stuff, right? That if they respond no records, you almost have to have something that already references the record that you need, if that makes sense, to display that it exists, right? So to show that you need this letter from this guy to this guy, you need to have something showing that he wrote the letter in the first place to prove that it's there. I don't know. I think FOIA requests are more patience than I have, but
yeah, I've only filed a few, and I waited for I don't know, over a year to get nothing.
Yeah.
To get them to say, we have no records, pertinent to your request. And I had several sources that said, oh no, they have the records. But what do you do?
Right.
You say,
exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. You don't go.
That worked right. in or around this incident that said they seen the records and I want to see them. It's just a cat and mouse game at some point. Okay.
And going
well,
back to even the thing in June, right? So one of the issues we have with the stuff that is available is people have signed NDA agreements that the people that developed the gimbal and the camera and all that shit, they signed that they're because Lockheed or Raytheon, right? You know, paid them all this money for their and trade secrets, right? I mean, they can't just go out and say, here's how the FLIR does this because whoever else is going to steal, you know. But if there was some mechanism, my point being, by which you could release people of NDAs for things that were not only, I don't know how you word it, right? But, you know, only related to UFOs, not our personal commercial shit. I don't know. But, you know, same thing with government witnesses. If you could actually convey to people that you're not going to prosecute them for. And having said that, there are a lot of people that for years have told stories about bullshit. Well, we just talked about the guy that went to Area 51, right, with a script, and so he never got prosecuted, as far as I know. I guess we're in the golden, you know. I don't know, man. I never threw him in jail. I don't know. So I guess but if I worked for Raytheon and I built the camera, I'd probably be hesitant about answering questions that somebody was asking about how it worked because of UFO stuff. So understandable, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, time moves quickly when we're talking. I could talk about stuff for hours. So we're just past an hour. I have a musical guest to play tonight, so we could both take a very short break and come back try to wrap up our discussion.
Cool. All right, man.
Let me see about doing that. I'm a little out of sorts today because I totally cleaned my studio and office room here today.
I saw
and I'm on a different computer than I usually am, and everything is
no worries. I'm gonna go check in here in the house real quick, so I'll be right back.
Sure, I'm gonna drop you out as well. So, friends, we're continuing in this playing a musical guest, and tonight's musical guest is once again Jason Paul Elder. With his excellent song "We Are One" that I actually recorded in my studio in Philadelphia quite some time now. I think this song is from, got to be 2004, maybe even 2006. So, yeah. And we're going to take a short break and bring you our musical guest, Jason Paul Elder, and we'll be right back to wrap up the discussion. Thanks for being here, friends.
We are one.
Hey, friends. So it would appear that I was wrong. That song is from 2010. Um, I may have been mistaking another song that he recorded with me earlier. I think that was on his from his third album, actually. Um, so we're gonna bring our guest back here. There we go.
Man, hey, that was good stuff, by the way. That was good music. I
Timothy.
like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I just reconnected with him. I used to record him at my studio in Philadelphia, and I needed musical guests, and he's got a huge catalog. So, nice guy
Nice.
said, "You could use any song you want as long as you spell my name right and let everybody know whose song that is."
Right,
I'm more than
right,
happy to
right.
do that. I think it's nice to be able to take a break too, for sure.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, man.
And to do the pee
Yeah.
break,
Sorry, yeah, my wife's making tacos, so I'm like watching the tacos, thinking about food,
Well,
but yeah.
we got to wrap things up pretty soon.
But yeah, I mean, I've
We're going for
certainly,
dinner.
yeah,
I want
it's
to ask
very
you.
interesting, but
I want to ask
yeah, go
you
ahead.
for your. I always ask people this for their bottom line. You've been looking into this for quite some time. I'm of the opinion that a very, 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 very few, underline that 85 times, of these things may in fact be alien spacecraft or interdimensional or something truly paranormal or
Right.
not earthly, but that's few and far between, and that most of it, I believe, is man-made objects, hoaxes, misidentified craft. What is your take on this thing, having studied it for so long?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar there where you're at, but as a going through watching UFOs for 30 years and meeting the people and seeing the evidence and it becoming educated in human psychology, and I'd say probably 80%, if I had to, I don't have a one and any singular answer, but most of it I think is David Halpern does a great job of discussing as UFOs are from inner space or something, right? It's a human phenomenon based on I don't know, right? That's one of the many theories. Doesn't explain, good sightings of physical craft, right? Then you've got the extraterrestrial explanation, which I don't know. I'm skeptical of it. I'd give it maybe 10% odds if I had to bet, right?
It's
Um,
pretty, yeah, it's pretty
you
out there.
know,
It's pretty,
I'd go paranormal before I went ET. Just I don't know, just and cut more. I don't know, but it's
yeah.
I certainly don't think we'll see any short-term answers. If we could get some promise to maybe keep getting some follow-up, to maybe have an annual report, or have an ongoing team of people. But then again, you go back to having what, Project Blue Book, or I mean, how do it's like George Carlin said about the weather, right? It'll continue to change for a long time, right? And so UFOs will continue to be sighted for a long time. And that's, I don't know, that's my psychology angle. At least I'm
Yeah,
interested in it from that
definitely.
perspective, right?
Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to just have a talk with me.
Yeah, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. And people, there's no. I like how you'll call people out, and people will. People like Halpin or get on. I'll get on. It's not. You don't have to have this elitism attitude within fucking UFOs or whatever else. Just get on, shoot the shit, and be honest, man. I'll spread the word. So talk to Jeremy McGowan too. He's does the Osiris thing,
Yeah, I'd like to get
the
some other
vehicle,
guests, and
and
I was going to ask you
uh,
if you could send some of your
oh
friends.
yeah, sure,
I'd
man. But
like
yeah,
to.
thanks for the time, brother. Yeah, I'll keep. As Jim Mosley used to say, keep your eye on the sky, right? Keep watching the
Yeah,
skies, right?
keep watching the skies. We might just get some answers, right? I sure
Yeah.
would like to. Yeah.
But all right, man. I'm gonna
All
sign
right,
off and
I'm
go
going to
eat
throw
some
you out of here so
tacos.
you can go eat some tacos. Sounds good to
Yeah.
me,
Take
brother.
care, man.
Good night. All right, friends. So there we are. Yeah, I just wanted to do sort of an informal talk with Tim and see where he's at on some of this stuff and what some of his experience has been studying it, and what his take on it was. And I wanted to bring you guys with me, and I got to do that today, which is it's always a good thing to allow allow to bring you guys with me, not allow. You're more than allowed. Okay, so I'm going to dedicate my full and total attention to the live chat now. So if you have comments or questions for me, please do put them in all caps. Let me see. Matthew says, yeah, but if random people on the internet can spot problems with their narrative, there's got to be trained spooks that can diagnose it. Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I would tend to agree with you. It's kind of one of those things, right? Like, it's interesting. I would think that the government, I don't know, part of me thinks the government knows more than they're telling us. And then part of me realizing uh, how badly the government is run, how inefficient, right? And how, like, I mean, look how well the DMV is run, right? Do you really think that the military is run better? I would hope so, but or these UIP programs, right? The government people, I don't know, government jobs. It's like they're not really on the ball, if you ask me, because it's kind of like a guaranteed job and paycheck, and there is definitely a lot of incompetence in government, which makes me think maybe they don't know any more than they're telling us, right? Because they haven't done the work that they need to do in order to, come up with some real answers, right? I would like to see real answers. But it appears to me that, like I said, they either don't know or they're not telling us. either of those, and there's probably more possibilities, of course, but these are some of the things that I think about. Like, what if they really don't know anything and there is no cover up? But I've seen enough myself to say that sometimes they just don't want to release the records, and there's nothing that you could do. If they tell you you can have it, then you can have it. You know, if they don't want you to have it, they're not going to give it to us. And we should have laws in this country, and they should be required. They should. One second. Check. Well, that's not good. Okay. Check. Okay. There we go. Now I think I got it. There we go. Sorry, friends. I'm really trying to do to fix some of these audio issues. So I apologize. It's not always going as planned. What can I say? Let me try this one more time. Sorry, friends. I'm trying to get I was going to see if we can't do a quick test of the multicam setup while I'm here and have some people in the audience. I've done some recordings of this and it seems to be working without a guest. I didn't realize, but if I use this setup with a guest, there's going to be 6 of me on the screen with the guest, and that that's really not the point of the multicam setup. Okay. Well, 1 second. Yeah, so I spent all day today, actually, honestly, all day. All day. No, this is not going to work. Check one. There we go. I think I got it. Okay, let me just check one more thing, friends, and please bear with me. I spent all day trying to get this multicam setup working, and I kind of wanted to check if it's working. Let's see. Sixth Design says, I don't doubt that there is a lot of people having given up on the government giving us answers, especially given the insane technology we have currently at Melissa. Yeah. All right. So what can I say, friends? I'm going to solo. Oop. Try to get this going. All right. So, I've been working on this multi-camera setup. I'm not quite sure that it's working and going to be synchronized, but I think Twitch TV is 20 seconds ahead of YouTube for some reason. Well, that's really is weird, right? It's definitely weird. But yeah, so here we go with this multi-camera setup, and I think it is definitely going to work. It's going to take a little bit more, a little bit more bugs to work out, and make sure that we got everything synchronized and working. I'm kind of hesitant to make things more complicated like this, but I definitely think it looks pretty cool to be able to have the multiple cameras, maybe be playing musical bumpers, waiting for a guest, or going back in. And it definitely seems like it's working. Different cameras, though, and some of these cameras are kind of crappy, but I wanted to try a multi-camera setup and see how it is that everybody likes it. If you guys like this, you do a portion of an interview this way. I've got this angle over here, and sort of a closer angle. Definitely would really like to have better webcams, though. Look at that. There's definitely a difference in quality, as you can see. We'll stick with the good camera. Excuse me. Pardon me. So, yeah, got a couple of more shows for you coming up this week, but I did spend the entire day today just cleaning my office and studio here so that I could try to organize things and get a little more organized. And that's certainly, it was terrible doing this all day. Honestly, I don't like cleaning and organizing things, but I'm glad that I did it because I feel better in here now. Like everything is cleaned out and organized. It's organized. That's a 50-inch TV back there. I'm going to be playing like animations on that. I think if we can get this working, right? Yeah. So I guess I can have multiple camera angles like others, and I'm not sure if it's worth complicating things, though. I mean, one camera is enough, I would assume, especially if I'm just talking, But there you go. So the first live test of the multi-camera setup, and I'm not sure about the angles and this and that yet, and I may just get a couple of more of these good webcams and just do 3, like one far away, one in front of me, and one on the side. Uh, Honestly, it's driving me a little crazy because although it does appear that this works, some of the cameras look good, and some of the cameras actually look terrible. And it's so funny because these two are the exact same camera, but dead on, it looks terrible. Not sure why that is, but I think I'm going to continue to work on this for a little while, and we'll see if it is something indeed that we feel we need to use. Uh, it is. I kind of like it, but then I don't want to complicate things and be worried about switching cameras, But it's nice to have the capability. So, friends, boy, I've got a bunch more shows for you. I feel like I'm way behind, and I'm going to do a show on this Jimmy Church and Sarah R. Adams interview because it's comedy gold. She got new superpowers, friends. She got new superpowers, and we're going to cover the new superpowers she claims she got. And yeah, thanks, Six Design. It pixelates a little on cam, transitions for a short time, clears up a few seconds later. Yeah, and I have a feeling that if I had good webcams like this Logitech that you're viewing me from now, that wouldn't be such an issue. At least I'm told use all the same cameras. But unfortunately, that's kind of, well, to me, it's expensive. It's like $100 webcam. And I don't, I was like, I don't know if I got $200 to buy 2 more, but I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm definitely going to do that because I like the other angles, right? And this one's funny because this one is not even a webcam. It's an old all-in-one computer that I threw over there so that I could get an extra angle. But it works, and I guess you get to see a little bit more of the studio. But this webcam is kind of crappy, so it works. That's another thing. I'm gonna have to adjust. Oh, you did it again, Melissa. I saw $100 and I was like, woohoo! That's 100 pesos. But we still absolutely appreciate and thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It's really great to see, even though it's a little disappointing seeing 100 and then realizing that's 5 US. I think, what was it last time, right? 5 US. Yeah, you got me again. I was like, $100? Oh, 100 pesos. But I'll take 100 pesos, Melissa. And thank you for your kindness, your generosity, your support of the show. Every dollar helps. Every dollar definitely helps, friends. And you'll also notice, look at this. I got that big honking microphone. I didn't want it right in the frame with me, but now that I went to a different workstation just so I can improve the audio because that iMac had problems with this microphone for God knows why. I don't know. Melissa says, I laugh my ass off. Love you much, Stephen. Thanks for the great effort. You're welcome. I'm glad somebody supports it. I'm here every day working really hard trying to improve the show. I mean, look, now we're going to have these multiple camera angles. You'll be able to see a little more of the studio, a little more of me. That might be a bad thing, right? Maybe I should have some camera angles that aren't on me, right? I'm not sure that anybody wants to see more of me, right? And there's the grainy one. And no idea why that one's grainy. Look, well, maybe that's better. Maybe it's better in the dark. I don't know. I've got a fader here. No, that's terrible. Terrible quality. No matter where I show it. Yeah. So there you go. Jonaside with a kind and generous offering of $1 US. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, your support of the show, and continued support of the show. It really does make a difference. It really does help. And we appreciate all of you guys throwing a couple of bucks in the hat so that I can maybe buy a couple more webcams and it'll look like these angles, but like not all shitty and, pixelated, or this one's way too dark. Look at that with the light off. It's like you can barely see me. And it's so funny because over here, it's still plenty bright. I don't know. You know, maybe I should work on the lights, and that's another thing. If I complicate this setup with these multi-camera angles, I'm going to have to be riding the faders to get it to not, look quite so dark. Yeah. Yeah, friends. I think maybe, that old rule, like keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. Why do I gotta? It's one more thing to worry about for sure. But maybe we'll just use the main shot, and once in a while, like when we go to break, show another shot, right? Oh, you just made my day, Genocide. For slides, we need slides. DW has slides. I don't think I have PowerPoint, but Killboy says show more strippers. Yeah, those super chat donations could get me some new strippers. You never know, right? Maybe I'll blow the super chat load this month on like custom strippers. Like we could get girls dressed like aliens, like maybe alien masks, and they could dance and strip but be aliens, or yeah, like that Jabba the Hutt alien girl. Maybe we could get one of those, right? Definitely need more strippers. That's what everybody needs. Need more strippers in my life for sure. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here and for indulging me and letting me at least give you a preview and show you this multi-camera setup. Like I said, I'm still working on it, and there's a lot of bugs to work out before I put it into every show, right? But I mean, the other thing that's funny is we could do this, and then if one of me is not enough, we'll have 4 or more of me. But I think that's a little overkill. So, any other? AJ says, just get Sarah to show us the Stargate. Now she's going to have to show. She's not only going to have to show us a Stargate, AJ. She's going to have to show us her going through a black hole, because that's her new superpower. She goes through black holes and talks to the aliens on the other side of the black hole, right? CW needs money because he's being sued. He'll do it. If I could get him over here on a green screen stripping, I would. I'd get him to do a striptease. I would do it, and I would play it too, because I'm that kind of it. I'm that kind of a guy. Yes. Yeah. So, friends, I listen. It's been a real long day for me. I was cleaning this place all day. Then I was testing these stupid cameras all day. And I got up to 7, believe it or not. I got up to 7 cameras working, kind of working. One of them is all glitchy, and I don't know why. But I try to get one like wide over there, all the way on the wall, so that you can see like most of the whole office. I don't know. Still going to keep working on this. I'm still going to keep working on it. And before I go, though, I am going to remind you all to do something for me, right? That would really help the show. And that is to like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, friends. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and send some of our video links to friends. Please share our channel link on your social media. And thank you for helping us grow. We're about to hit 100,000 views, and we've passed 1,500 subscribers. So thank you for your continued support. Thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. It really does. I saw some YouTube statistics, and 20% of our views is coming from YouTube searches, which means every time you like, comment, and subscribe on one of my videos, or comment on one of my videos, or share it on your social media, it really does help rise us in the YouTube AI algorithm search engines. Praise the AI Google algorithm gods. Please keep us in favor. Please help us rise in the search engines. That's my daily prayer to the YouTube AI algorithm gods who hold my fate in their hands and the fate of our show. They really could. More engagement really does help to have more people find us when they search for, let's say, for example, UFOs or whatever. It really does help. Every time you like, comment, subscribe, or even dislike, it really does help. Please send our channel address to some friends that you know that may enjoy this content and ask them to subscribe. Oh, yeah, Steph, I forgot to talk about that. So tomorrow night, we're going to have Tarot Card Tuesday. Yeah, and Steph, according to some people, I'm selling out because I have you doing tarot cards, and I'm a sellout, but, so be it. Yeah. And Melissa says, praise the cash. Yes, I want to thank all the Super Chat donators tonight, all the people who support me on Patreon, and all the people who send a PayPal donation. Because we are building this show based off of viewer support, and it feels great. And I gotta say, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, your support. Praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank God Almighty, people are sending me money. Praise the cash, Melissa. Absolutely, praise the cash. Uh-oh. You better be here tomorrow night. Killboy says, need another reading. Steph, I got fired. Well, sorry to hear that, bro. That's rough. But I hope that you get a better job, that you enjoy more, where you make more money, right? Try to think positively and win. That's how you win when you get fired. Every time I got fired, I got a better job that I liked. Usually, I got a better job that I liked more, that I made more money at. Because to me, okay, you don't want me. Somebody else is going to want me because I'm worth something, and I'm, smart and driven, and I get things done, and I'm talented. Hope you keep those things in mind, Killboy. It's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, and it's easy to get a little, to get a little discouraged when life kicks you in the teeth like that. But don't do it, bro. You're talented, you're passionate, you're intelligent. You get things done, and you're worthy of a new, better job. And I hope you find it, right? Killboy says, amen. Yes, amen. I believe Killboy will get a better job. I believe. I believe in you, Killboy. Yeah, so, friends, it's been a long day. I got to bounce out of here. I got some other things. I'm still doing some other things tonight. I cleaned this place all day, and I worked on this stupid multi-cameras, and I moved all these computers around. Now we're running the show from 2 IBM ThinkPads, which I'm having a little bit of trouble reading stuff, so I got to make some adjustments. But I think this is going to run the show much better because we have these two laptops working together to run the show. One is really not enough for me anyway. And it helps to have that extra CPU horsepower to do some other things, so you're not just, blowing this whole thing on one computer, because sometimes StreamYard doesn't like that, and things get a little nutty. So, friends, once again, thank all of you guys for being here. I'm always happy when there's an audience. Thank you for coming here tonight. Thanks for indulging me and helping me at least give an example of what this multi-camera setup could be like for us. If you guys like it, let me know. If you don't like it and you think it's stupid, let me know too, right? I don't know. I think what we're going to do is use it, but use it very sparingly. Like when we go to break, I'll switch the camera view or something. It's not going to be like switch, unless I get some better cameras. That's another possibility. So I'm always happy when there's an audience, friends. Thanks so much for coming here tonight, spending some quality time with me. I'm always happy to see each and every one of you. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.